Greetings. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at Ven for the Oculus Quest. Ven is a platformer that is built for virtual reality from the ground up. It comes out in the official Oculus Quest store August 12th and will cost about $30 US. So in this video I'm going to take a look at some gameplay, talk about the good and the bad before coming to a final review score at the end. So let's get to it. You may at first glance think that Ven looks a bit like Crash Bandicoot, and if you're wondering if it plays like Crash Bandicoot 2, then you'd be exactly right. There's a very similar linear level design filled with both traps and enemies, crates to destroy, and even a silent protagonist.
Oh, hey!
It was so similar in fact, I was half expecting to be jumping from plank to plank on a bridge, like the high road stage on the original Crash Bandicoot. Oh, wait. You do actually do that. That being said, it's a tight little package. Controls are very responsive, which is what you need in a platformer like this that relies on split-second timing. Now it has some pretty stunning environments too, and the bright upbeat soundtrack matched the action perfectly and was a real joy for the ears. Have a listen for yourself. Now, having been a massive fan of the original Crash Bandicoot series back in the day, I'm going to have to take a moment to take off my rose-tinted nostalgia glasses and try to see Ven through the lens of 2021. And what my senses shout out to me, despite the happiness my younger self feels when I play this game, is that it's fairly basic. For example, you have 3 attack moves: jump on an enemy's head, slash them with your weapon, or do a double jump power attack. That's it. The levels are also very linear. Now it does make an okay use of VR by making you turn your head at times to survey the landscape and find the odd hidden area here or there, but ultimately it's a point A to point B platformer. By the way, I do recommend playing on a swivel chair so you can also turn a little on the chair without having to strain your neck from left to right. You can also use the thumbstick to rotate the camera, but it was snap turning and I found it felt very unnatural for me. Because you are seated and there isn't a whole lot of movement, it is a fairly comfortable experience. There are some times when the camera does swish around, or there might be a part with an elevator that goes up or suddenly drops, which can cause a little bit of queasiness if you do suffer from VR sickness. Other than that, I think most people will find it a fairly comfortable experience. So the gameplay is this: destroy crates, collect runes, save these baby Ven that you find throughout the level, all the while avoiding traps and destroying enemies before you make it to the end of the stage. That is this game summed up in a nutshell. Now there is a simple backstory here too, but it's kind of forgettable and doesn't really do much to enhance the game.
But one day everything changed. Invaders from space came out of nowhere, determined to enslave the local population and to exploit the planet.
So it's at this point I ask myself, does the basic nature of the game make it feel dated and stale? Well, for me, it's a no. There was a great variety between stages and within stages too, enough to keep things feeling pretty fresh. It felt like there was a new way to die around every corner, and I constantly had to readjust my strategy to deal with the new environmental hazards, which kept me on my toes. It was no cakewalk either, especially in the later stages. This game's difficulty came with a healthy dose of frustration at times, as you kept on repeatedly dying on some of the obstacles and having to restart at a checkpoint or at the beginning of the stage, and it led to a feeling of frustration that every retro gamer will be very familiar with. But this also made it quite rewarding when you did manage to successfully navigate through some of the trickier parts of the level. There are also some minigame things here or there, like this one where you had to destroy the rockets to the beat. And they were okay. I do like the attempt to make more use of the motion controls, but ultimately they were fairly unmemorable. The gameplay itself seemed pretty fair and balanced. Now it did get fairly tough in the later levels, so make sure you earn as many lives as you can in the earlier stages because you'll be needing them later on. Now the camera could sometimes be a bit annoying. There were occasions where a dodgy camera angle contributed to my death, but it didn't happen too often. Now time wise, expect this one to take you at least 4 hours. I mean sure, you might be able to power through the 12 stages in a little less than that, but if you crank Ven up to the normal or challenging difficulty settings, which make things harder by, for example, giving you less lives, then expect at least 4 hours and a few more hours than that if you want to collect all the crates and all the baby Ven. Well, they're not actually called baby Ven, they're called Ikai. There are also some bonus levels to unlock, as well as a time trial mode with online leaderboards, so a completionist could be looking at easily 6 or 7 hours, more than that even, and potentially tens of hours here if you want to try to get the best times on each of the levels. So there is a fair bit here to get stuck into. So where do I ultimately stand on Ven? For me, it's about a 3.5 star game out of 5. Now my inner nostalgia nerd wants to give it more, but when my modern day self compares it to other brilliant platforming titles like Moss with its clever puzzle design and full rich narrated story, Ven's gameplay feels a little bare bones. But they did re-release Crash Bandicoot as Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy back in 2018, and why did they do that? Because, despite feeling a little basic, these classic platformers are still a ton of fun, and I can't deny falling in love with Ven's simple charm. Ven gives us a tried and tested, and perhaps dated formula for platforming fun, but nonetheless delivers it in a polished package that both young and old can enjoy. So what did you think of Ven? Does it look like a game that you might buy yourself? As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below. As I say, I really enjoyed this game. It definitely is something I would consider buying myself, as I am fond of these kind of platformers, especially when they have this retro kind of feel, which is what Ven had for me. Anyway, that's it for this video. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, remember to hit that like button, and if you're not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell to be kept up to date with more reviews like this in the future. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll catch you in the next video.